Well, hello everybody. It is the Sagittarian full moon. My name is Priscilla Hole, and if you're trying to find me on Facebook, I have changed my moniker, so to speak. I'm now known as Priscilla W. Hole, Wholeness Therapies, Brisbane. So, yeah, if you're wondering what that means, I can go into a little bit of detail later. But right now, we're actually going to talk about the Sagittarian full moon and the bigness of it, and the recognition, if we're talking about empowerment, which is the work that I do with people, where do we give our power away? What's going on with the Sagittarian full moon at this point in time is highlighting the bigness. Are we afraid to stand up and be ourselves out in the big wide world? Me included. I hear you. It's scary sometimes to put yourself out there. It's easier to sit actually here in a room and be videoed without worrying about anybody else. And part of me has built a comfort zone in this. And of course, now I'm starting to feel the push and the pull to go beyond all of that. So people based in Brisbane, I do women's circles once a month. So if you're interested in being a part of these, I can put that out there on my Facebook page as well and on my website. So, but yeah, they're once a month, and they're working how to stay in your power with the natural cycles calendar, which came from Natalie Kent from Sacred Business and the Business by Nature group here in the world. I won't try and say where she's based because she does move around a bit. So yeah, it's all moving, it's all shaking, and the full moon intensity has really brought a lot of stuff up for people. I am grateful that I have not been heavily affected by this particular full moon. If anything else, I found myself wanting to retreat a little bit and wanting to go into a bit of a cave, regardless of the energy. But that's my personal chart. But other people I know are being very challenged to step up, and they're having all of their stuff stirred up a lot. So, we have another member join us. Charlie, welcome. Just going to put you on mute. If you can do that for me, that would be amazing. So that's excellent. Thank you very much, Charlie. So, yeah, going into the Sagittarius full moon and what it all means, and standing in our power, standing in our strength, and recognizing where it is that we are afraid to be seen, I think, because Jupiter represents the bigness or expansion, and Sagittarius is all about our higher mind and our connection, which is like the first steps of the zodiac wheel is moving into. From Sagittarius we go into Capricorn, and then from Capricorn we go into Aquarius and Pisces, and this energy starts to push into the higher mind and what are we doing, what's the bigger picture of our mind and our thought processes, and then of course moves higher and higher into collective work, and also pushing out into Pisces. It starts pushing into our spirituality, but it kind of starts in Sagittarius of going into the aspect of coming out into the mind a lot more. And so of course Capricorn is empire building. It's like, we're talking corporate, and then we go into Aquarius, which is technology, and then we go into Pisces, which is spirituality. So right now it's the beginning of that big push with the full moons, and so we're starting to see what that means. On the flip side, of course, is the sun in Gemini, and Gemini is the curious little kid. I think Natalie Kent actually summed it up perfectly the other week, saying, as we move into Gemini, Gemini is the curious kid, asking questions and actually not really thinking deeply. So it's all about, I want to know, curiosity. And then Sagittarian energy is about, well, I know, I'm aware, I'm learning, and it's that higher mind aspect, allowing ourselves to be seen in that space. So we have two people joining us today. So first of all, I'm going to draw a collective card, and we'll see who else joins us today, and we'll see what's going on for the bigger picture of everybody else. Here we go. This is called totality. And this one here is really powerful because it's about having a good look at, are we trusting ourselves to move forward? Because you can see here with the aerial acrobat that, they're still being held onto by their feet as they move from one part of their new life or their old life into a new part. And you can see there with the card, you can see the white light shining around the fact that the hands haven't quite met yet. So at what point, so where are we when we're waiting for things to let go in order to be able to move into the new place? And so this is pretty big, and it's hard. It's really challenging. It's frightening in many cases, because it means that we have to trust that another part of us is ready to let go, so that we can move into that new place. And, you know, if we don't trust ourselves to move into the new place, the old one can't let go. So it's kind of a weird catch-22 energy. And it's a powerful place to find yourself up there swinging about in the ethers, or trying to figure out what's going to happen and not feel that there's anything safe beneath you. So you're hanging on to the old way. So where is it that we would give our power away? Well, I've been thinking a lot about what is it? What does empowerment really mean? And there's aspects of when to say yes and when to say no, and how to say yes and how to say no. This is huge. So this is a big part of us learning to say yes to new stuff, but knowing that it's right for us, and then learning to say no to stuff that doesn't serve us. And when to say, I come to stumbling over my words here, when to say no because it doesn't feel right, and when not to say no, when to really trust that it's a no. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go around in circles now. So I'm going to stop speaking. Here is the card for the collective. So we're all in this state of letting go of old stuff and creating into the new. And so the full moon is highlighting this energy around being seen and bigness, and allowing ourselves to be standing in that. But have we said yes to it, or have we said no? And what is the purpose behind the yes or the no? Is it because no is the fear? Then maybe we should be saying yes. And if no is because it absolutely is the right thing to do because it's going to protect us, as opposed to saying yes because it's easy to say yes to please other people. There we go. I finally found my words. So that's the collective card, totality, all right? When to let go and when to reach out for the new stuff and trust it's going to be there. So the next card is going to be for Joe. Joe, this is a gorgeous card, playfulness. So this is beautiful. This is a great card to recognize, you know, when are we actually saying yes to play, or when are we actually saying yes to play because it's so good for us and we need to step away from being controlled and structured and organized and functioning in that, organized place? Or when is it wise to say no to playfulness because playfulness distracts us from the things that need to be done? So it's a big question here to look at and to actually wonder. And if I was looking at myself, well, hello, I am a classic case of saying yes to playfulness because I'm happy to be distracted. Are you? Are you easily distracted, or can you become so focused that the playfulness is important to allow to come in? So, and here's what you can say yes to. Say yes to the playfulness if you're ready for that, or no to the playfulness if that's where being focused is required and you keep sliding into it. And so Joe's just made a comment saying, so easily distracted by play. Pick me, baby. We're obviously on the same plate here. I think that's so true. So that I fully, deeply appreciate. So time to have a good look at where you're allowing yourself to be distracted by play, and then, where is it that you need to find the time for play because it's right, and finding the time for structure and function and focus and discipline because you really need to step into that. All right. So there's your focus for the next month, bit of guidance on how to get through from this full moon through to the next full moon. And the next full moon, of course, will be at approximately 4 weeks' time. And it will, of course, be basically, where are we? Sagittarius, it'll be in Capricorn. So there's more about focus into structure in the next one. Okay, we're highlighting the structure next time. So that's Joe's card. And the next one we have is Charlie. So beautiful to see you again, my dear. It's been a couple of weeks or longer. All right, this is a beautiful card for Charlie. It's called ordinariness. And so this card's really deceptive. It's actually this woman, I think, or a person, like walking through a wooded area, like a garden area, and it's just doing normal things. It's a bit like, getting on with things that need to be done around the house, the ordinariness of knowing that at some point you have to do your washing up, and at some point you've got to wash your clothes, maybe make your bed, and do all of those sorts of things, because they're the things that keep a little bit of structure and normality in our lives instead of constantly being in a state of excitement and up. So this is like the, you know, if we're talking about life in cycles and or in waves, then you've got your upness with, you know, excitement and play and all the rest of it. And then you've got the downness or the downward slope of sliding into the ordinariness, and how it's actually important to recognize that not doing anything is important. And so if I'm going to look at the aspect of empowerment here, where is it that you reject the ordinariness because you think your life should be like high all the time, and maybe you should allow it to be, you know, slow and more gentle and less full of play, and so that the ordinariness can actually find a place for us, or for you in your life in that case. So, or where are you not allowing it to come in? You know, what are you doing? So I think it's a good question to ask for yourself, Charlie. You know, like, what is it that that you're either accepting about ordinariness, and that, you know, why it's good for you, or where even ordinariness can actually be not so good for you because it's just keeping you in a slump zone, and you never get out of the house and you never actually go anywhere. So, yeah, there's always the flip side. There's always a flip side with these cards, and I think it's good to have a good look at that part of your life and see what part of you is, you know, saying yes to it or no to it, and why would you be saying yes or no to this? Okay, I think it's a good thing to have a good look at. So, okay, so since there's only 3 of us here today, I'm going to draw a card for myself because it's always useful, and then we can have a little like overview of the entire thing. Ta-da! Harmony. So this card is really beautiful. What part of me is actually allowing myself to create harmony? And when I look at that, I can see there are days when my life is in beautiful harmony, and then other days when my life is actually completely, you know, disharmonious. I'm all over the place. I'm jumping about, like flitting from one thing to another. And so I can see here where this harmony, if I allow it to come in, is actually going to create a part of the rhythm that will I can work within my structure, within my personal discipline, which in many cases over the years has been really, really bad. So really crap at discipline, and then sometimes I get really hard on myself and become too hard with discipline and too structured. And so there's the harmony between the two is really important. So, okay. So what we have here in the big picture is the totality. Where are we going to trust that we need to let go of old stuff and move into the new? At what point are we going to believe that we actually deserve something new in our lives, or we know how to say yes to it, or we know how to say no for the right reasons? No, because it's actually not going to work. So I think that's really important. And yes, because it is important that we step in. And then we come into, well, if we're going to make some changes, what part of us actually needs to recognize that we need to have fun with it too. We can't be too hard on ourselves, and it can't be all control and all structure, because if we do that, we're stripping the fun part and the peaks out of our lives, and then we're always going to be in the trough. And of course, here's the trough. Here's the ordinariness after the playfulness, and that's beautiful too, because that in itself finally perfectly brings us into harmony when we have both aspects, when we both have the playfulness, and then we have the ordinariness. We then have a balance, and then we have the harmony. And this is what we need to look at for the month. I think everybody's really feeling this. It's really good to have a good look at where do we allow playfulness and where do we allow the ordinariness. And are we giving ourselves space to play, or giving ourselves too much space to play? Are we giving enough space to ordinariness, or are we not giving any ordinariness at all? So, and because once we do that, we'll find the harmony, we'll find the flow. And I love the curve in this particular card. You can see the dolphins sort of moving around. There's a curve to life. Life and time is not linear. It's actually circular. It's cyclic. And how do we learn to manage that? Well, we have playful and we have ordinariness, and both of them are absolutely relevant, and we can't dismiss what that means to us. And learning how to put that into a rhythm is really, really important. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you very much, everybody, for having your beautiful presence here today. And the next reading is going to be the new moon in Gemini, which I understand to be on the 14th of June. So I'll be doing another reading on that day. The days are going to always be, the readings are always going to be on the day of the actual event, not leading up to it. and it's at 11 a.m. if you wish to join me next time. And if you wish to find out anything else there is about me, you are very welcome to find me on Facebook. As I've said, I've changed my moniker to Priscilla W. Wholeness Therapies Brisbane. You should find me there. If you've got any questions, please shoot them through. It'd be wonderful to hear from you. Thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you next time.